Welcome to this episode of the Saddleback Pod. I am your host, Matt Gillett, and we have a different style podcast today. We have Sarah and David of Gogh Tattoos in Grand Ledge. I know absolutely nothing about tattoos, so I'm just going to be throwing stuff your way, and you're going to hopefully have some response. But, I mean, just to get started, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourself, the shop, everything like that?
I used to live here when I was younger, and then I moved to Alaska, and then I came back from Alaska with my wife and found them. So I've been working there ever since.
We've been in Grand Ledge 17 years, and we've gone through all different types of artists, but we always stay true to actual artists who can do art. So like David, when he swung in from Alaska, he can create just anything. He's absolutely amazing with his work. And so we were lucky he came in.
So, I mean, again, I'm totally new to this. Yeah. I have zero ink on my body. I did a couple, like, TikTok videos, like, trying to figure out a little bit more about the space and kind of how it works. And I had a weird question of, like, so obviously customers come in there and they have, I think, some idea of what they're looking for. And then I saw, like, drawings where they put it, you know, somebody draws something or they, download it off the computer. Is the artistic side of it the actual application of the ink on the skin, or is it the idea of the actual drawing?
So
or both, I guess.
That's a good question.
I mean, honestly, I'd say the idea. So what happens is, like, I mean, when you come in and you're like, oh, I have this idea, either you have it on paper or it's just in your head. And we just have a consultation with you. Like, we just try to figure out, you know, what style you're looking for and, you know, what your design is. And then because all of us have different strengths and styles that we just love and excel at, we match you with that perfect artist. And then once you sit down and talk with them, it's like, you know, we get it out of your brain and we draw for you and we just keep drawing until we get it right. And you can nitpick the heck out of it and throw the whole thing away even and start fresh. But as soon as the design is on paper and it's exactly how you want it, then we actually put it on a stencil. And then we put the stencil on your skin. And
okay.
so you see it on your body before we even tattoo it.
Okay.
So it really has to, I mean, it all comes down to the art on paper before we can even start tattooing your skin.
Yeah, we pretty much just trace it once the stencil comes on.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's still obviously a ton of skill, right? Like, yeah. I
don't want to brag, but
in my question, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, the complex part about, I think it would be, you know, again, from the outside looking in, it's got to be a huge relationship that you're getting into with this customer, right? Like, whoever it is, you're probably, I would assume, trying to build up multiple visits with them. You want to gain their trust. You obviously want to showcase your skill set. You want to stand alone. All while, you know, you want them to kind of like you, you know, feel comfortable with you, open up, be able to share why they're doing this thing, why they decide. I'm sure there's laydowns. I'm sure there's the person who wants the Libra on their arm. It's like, oh, okay, here we go again. Well, I mean, there has to be, I don't know. At least I think that's how it works. Like a return customer, somebody that's really building, you know, whatever section of their canvas out, you know, you want that person to continue coming back to you, because I would assume on your end too, it's nice too. I mean, it keeps you kind of motivated. It keeps you confident in your work, and I mean, it's obviously they're paying money too. They're a customer. Yep.
It's funny because when we first opened years ago, we were in a different building and it was an old house kind of deal and it was turned into a business. So there were different like sections. And so everybody kind of had their own room. And it was fine. You know, clients came in, it was great, whatever. And then we moved over to where we are now years ago. And it was a big open space. And so then we were all forced to be together. And I found that's where like the dynamic was just huge. The clients were just, everybody's together laughing. And, you know, I mean, the other day, a bunch of us together all had knee tattoos. So then you have all the clients, you know, talking to each other about, oh, did you get to that spot yet? And oh, that sucked. And oh, you haven't moved yet. I mean, it's really like, it's important for us to to entertain our client too, but I mean, really, the dynamic is all of us together. I mean, our shop just vibes so fun. And the clients just love it. I mean, we talk about David being in prison all the time.
We almost made like 3 minutes, dude. 3 minutes for the prison drop in there.
And it's like, I mean, but it's like, it's so great for me. I have fun with it, but no, like, I mean, it's just everybody just laughs together and has a great time. And so even some of our clients are like, oh, hey, I was across from you last time I got tattooed, and they're vibing together. So it's really a different type of shop, truly.
Yeah, I think like the words that like listen to you other than the prison side of things was like culture and community kind of
Yes.
resonate with me. Like those are words that are thrown around in the business world all the time. But having good culture with your staff, the people you work beside, is extremely important so that you can make prison comments and it just kind of roll off the shoulder
He
type
embraces
thing.
it, I'm sure.
But that being said, the community side of it, of being able to welcome any individual into the shop, for them to feel totally comfortable exposing themselves, physically, possibly
Yeah.
verbally, and share their stories is a huge thing too. It just doesn't happen overnight, right? Like if you
Correct.
feel uncomfortable, you're probably going to have an uncomfortable experience somewhere in there. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, the layup question here is like the crazy story question of like
I get that a lot.
but and we'll probably get to that, or if you want to jump in on anything in that realm. But from a customer standpoint, I'd probably I mean, you have like boxes that people typically fit into of like this person's never had ink, this person's has the 18-year-old tattoo, they're now 35 and they're trying to get that second one out, like the rebellious tattoo.
Yeah.
And then you probably have your people who, dude, this is who I am. Like, this is how I express myself. This is part of my life. I would assume that person is handled a little bit differently than the love cursive on the arm. Not handled differently, but like just
Yeah, David definitely treats everybody the same.
Yep.
Okay.
Almost everybody.
And then they leave happy, and I'm like, wow. No, I'm just kidding. You don't color code anything though. You're like,
don't.
this
No. Well,
black and
I think
white.
that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, right? You're getting
Yeah.
into
Even-
something pretty serious. Like,
Yeah, even people they'll be like, "Oh man, does that hurt?" And it's just like, absolutely, it hurts really bad. It's gonna suck. And they're like, "Oh, thanks for making me feel good."
what's the other side of it? That we
Right.
just get into this in like 2 minutes and you're
Yeah.
like, shit, this is a lot worse than I thought it
Yeah.
was going to be.
We do have, because we're in Grand Ledge, our clientele is very broad. And so it was funny because we did a commercial for WLNS recently, and we had them run at noon, the noon slot. And so we were talking about all the clients that we were getting in the door. And they were at least 70 or older.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, this place just looked so nice on the TV. So I thought, I've never been in a tattoo shop before. It was so adorable. We're like, dude, we got another one that was over 70, So, I mean, we do obviously, you just want to be delicate with everybody. But I mean, when I learned 17 years ago, 15 years ago, actually, I didn't tattoo when I opened. But the lady, Katie, who taught me was like, you never judge any client by their decision, what they want. It's all, everybody's, it's just skin, you do it, which I regret because there's been a lot of tattoo areas of the body that I've done over the years where I'm like, oh, this is just body. This is what they want. Don't treat them different. And now I'm like, you're a freak. This is weird. I don't want to do this anymore. So now we have Hami and our younger generation do it.
You just pass them down the line. Like,
Us old folks are
You're
like,
the
"We got
new
our
guy,
time,
you
dude."
take it.
Yeah, it's just skin, Hami. It's just, don't treat them bad. Any different. Everybody, so.
I could see where that would be interesting.
You get
It is.
weirdos. And they make our day. The
Yeah,
weirdos
they-
are awesome.
I mean, what's the frequency of the, like, I mean, obviously the scale of price and size, I'm sure is all relevant, but, do you have people that come in, once a month, once a week, annually? Like, How does that repetition happen? I'm sure that somebody out there, this is their thing. They really love to do that and be a part of those kinds of things. I mean, my friends that have inks, if you do it, you're going to get addicted to it. And that's honestly one of the things that stops me from doing it, is that I'm just fearful of, like, shit, here's another thing I got to worry about. Like, on to the next one. Like, I've got enough problems in my life. I don't know if I need that one in a good way, right? Like
Yeah.
that. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like, how frequent can people get in this? Like, how crazy does this game get?
Oh, I have clients that come in every 2 weeks, like
Holy
literally.
crap.
Like most of my client base is just returning clients where they're in like every 2 weeks, every month, getting sleeves and
Wow.
back pieces. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
And when they come in, it's like, kind of what they're looking for, or is it just they're continuing that same work on that same piece?
It's kind of the same piece. It's more of like we have an idea for like their sleeve or their back piece, and we're just continuing on from that. So I pretty much know what they want, but we just keep going until it's done, and then they move on to the next leg or arm.
What I've noticed with our artists, a lot with David, like for instance, like like our clients will come in, obviously get a piece done by him. Like he draws like from scratch. It's like, look what, like, oh, they came in with this idea, and it's like, oh, I don't know how that's gonna look on skin. He's like, oh, no, look at what I drew up. This is what I'm gonna show them. I'm like, oh gosh. And then they fall in love with it. And then they become clients regulars, because it's like, what's he gonna do next for me? Like it's like just getting their ideas out, and he just creates these. I mean, they're just stunning. And he always posts them on our Facebook page. Like, hey, I just drew this up. Hey, come in and get this. And I mean, he's coming out with them all the time. And I think that's why he gets these returning clients, because it's like he just created this huge masterpiece on half the arm. I want to finish the other half of the arm. You can connect it. You can finish it because it's your art piece. It's your creation. And I think that's it's not like, shoot, I was on Pinterest and I couldn't find anything to match what you did. We don't, all the work goes on us, and we love it. And I mean, David's at work hours early every day. Just drawing for his people, like he loves it. So, and I think that's why they keep coming back. It's like, let's see what you have next, in your crazy wacko head, like
It's prison head, man.
Prison head.
truly,
sure.
man. It's done good for his career.
So in that space, you brought up like post it to Facebook, and again, not really in this world, but I would assume social media, whether that's an Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, allows not only you, the artist, to see what other people are capable of, but also the customers are able to see the capabilities of. Piggybacked by TV, Ink Masters, and things like that. Do people come in sometimes with expectations that I don't want to say are unachievable, but just things that they've seen that, like, in the food world, people think all these things happen, and the brass tacks of it, it's just not how it works. It worked in front of the camera that one time, or I don't know how they staged it. Like, the reality with food is that when you see these things, you don't even know how it tastes. Like, whether it's food or alcohol, you're just looking at it going, you're only going on sound and visuals. You have no idea. The one concept that's important in food is, how it tastes or smells. And you don't get any of that. Yet you're going, oh my God, did you see this? Yeah. It's crazy. So how does that affect you in a creative space? Like, what your capabilities are, how you have to raise the bar, and then also kind of the negative side. So sometimes the expectations of, hey, no, I want this yada yada thing. I saw it here, and you're just like, whoa, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, we get a lot of those actually, where like people come in and they're like, hey, I want this cover up, and I want to cover it with like this writing. It's like, you just can't do that. So there's like too much open space, so we kind of got to draw things to fit that piece, and most of the time they're just, a lot of people understand and they know that like our opinion matters. So when we tell them we need to change something, like they're okay with it most of the time. So there is times where people are a bit stubborn, and they want what they want.
Yeah.
And, we do have to turn away a few here and there, but it's actually not as many as people
That's when
would
we get our
think.
1-star reviews.
Yeah.
The ones that are like,
But wouldn't that be better on on the customer standpoint of like, hey, we're just probably not the shop for you. I don't want to
No.
get you into something that this isn't going to work. And
I blame Burger King. So like years ago, they had that commercial. It's like, you get it your way right away. And it's like, we're not that. Like, it's like our art is like on you and we want, you to shine. But there are definitely those personality types that are like, you don't tell me, this is what I want. And that, yeah, like David said, then it's like, we'll tell them like, we're just not the shop for you. And then instantly, oh, we got a 1-star review, says we wouldn't, would give them what they want. It's like, but it's skin, it's not paper. It's a big deal. So it's so different.
in the Lansing area, I mean, obviously, so you're in Grand Ledge. I kind of butts up to Lansing, so I won't.
We got a lot of
consider it
friends in Lansing shops.
Yeah.
Yep.
How does that work? Like referral base, places it's got to be the same thing as food, right? Like these are some restaurants that I think you should definitely check out. I wouldn't say this on the record, but maybe not that place might not be the first place I would go.
Yeah.
Or this guy's work is awesome. You got to check this thing out. It's fascinating things are happening over there. Same kind of culture?
No.
No.
Nope.
We're stubborn. We want to keep everybody for ourselves.
Okay.
There is a few times where like we've passed people off to
Yep.
somebody, but it's probably because we didn't want to do it. So
It's a very small industry. So
Really?
it's like, oh yeah. Like yeah, just walking around, it's like, oh, I wonder if so-and-so's at the shop today. And I mean it is a small industry, but I had years ago sent somebody to a friend of mine's shop because they do lasering. And then they were done doing the lasering after a few months, and the client came back to me and he said, okay, so-and-so said I was all ready to go and you can start tattooing the cover up now. And I was like, they sent you back to me? I would have been like, you need to stay here. Like I would have been like trying to win you over, like, and then so I talked to him later because he was a friend of mine, and I was like, thank you for like sending him back. He's like, oh, I don't need to keep your clients. Like it's your client. I'm like, oh, like that made me kind of reflect for a minute, So I wouldn't try to steal anybody's clients or anything, but no, once we get them, I mean, we want to keep them. I mean, one, just because of that relationship, and two, I mean,
it's money in our pocket.
yeah, I mean, I kind of always say we're
I mean,
like
it is
dogs.
business. Yeah, I definitely. It's
If I was a
definitely
dog, I'd pee on their leg and claim them.
and the restaurant comparison is not the greatest one, right? Because we can frequent restaurants as much as we want. Like when you build that relationship with somebody, in your guys' field, it could be a lifelong relationship. You might be
Truly.
in the Lansing area forever. This is the place I go. I don't really hold standard to anybody else. This is it. That's good. So
And we tattoo their kids now or their grandkids. I mean, we're tattooing their
That's
next
wild.
generation already, so which is really fun.
So when it comes to like the actual skill set and the education curve and like how does that work? Is it just, I'm artistically talented, or I mean, is there an education background? Is it just repetition? How does somebody get to a higher level if they're interested in getting in the field or whatnot?
I would just draw every day.
Constantly
just
drawing.
draw. A lot of times we need, like when we apprentice people, like some people, like our apprentice now, like he kind of worked up, like his drawing, like went from not super good, now it's really good.
Okay.
And we just tell them to draw, and then they start their apprenticeship. And I mean, some people go to college for art and stuff. I mean, it's not a necessity to go to college.
So you're going for art, but like there's not like an actual
Yep.
technical certification or degree or anything.
Yeah,
like
you got to
that.
get a bloodborne pathogen certificate, but most of the time we just look for people that are very artistic and are really good drawers. So
We just take them under our wing for like a year and a half, and show them how to transfer their drawings to skin, pretty much. So
Okay.
there was a gal years ago that came, like a lot of time, like actually this month we've already had 3 people write in and ask for apprenticeships. And the first thing is, oh, send me your drawings. Let's see what you got. Oh, well, she doesn't really have stuff. I'm like, well, then I can't even entertain this with you. You know, like I can't teach you to draw. Like, what makes you want to be a tattoo artist then if you don't draw? Because when you're tattooing and you erase the stencil on accident, you need to be able to grab a marker and redraw that on their skin.
Oh, fair, yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, if you can't draw, that's huge. And then yeah, we just really pretty much teach you how to transfer your. Oh, so the girl who started years ago, she came in with just a massive portfolio of drawings, and it was all Japanese style stuff, and it was just stunning, stunning, beautiful. And she went through her apprenticeship in less than well, it's about a year. And I was like, she's going to be on TV in like 5 years. Like, she's just amazing. She was going to the tattoo conventions, always drawing, you know, and turning in things to show us and get critiqued and open to critiquing, to getting critiqued. And now, I mean, I don't know really where she is now. I know that she's been just working her way through the place, like through our industry, but she's gonna get her name out there because you got to be a go-getter. Like, you're a 1099, you're your own business, so you're a subcontractor.
You gotta be marketing yourself the whole time, creating a brand.
I'm not here to hold your hand, you know. So yeah, you got to be exactly build your brand, like create. You know, it's you. You're gonna make your own business card, you know. So feed your brain, feed your art. So
is that how a shop works? Is like everybody's 1099. So really, if somebody chose to work at Van Gogh, they should look at, hey, does this place have the equipment maybe, or just the space, the feel, the vibe that I think is going to give me the best opportunity to attract customers in, and then from there, you know, I turn them around to customers.
Yeah.
And then you do your best to just organically kind of just keep them in the flow of things and. Send them an email or a text every now and then. Hey, man.
We had a young pup that was with us recently, and he's just, he was so hilarious. And he was, I don't know how many, maybe he was in the industry 4 years, maybe? 5 years. And so then he came to our shop for a year. And we have some heavy hitters. I mean, our guys are heavy hitters in this industry. And so he just, oh my gosh, he fed off their work, all like leaning over them all the time, asking questions, even down to what inks are you using? What needle brand are you using? And now he's moved on to another place where now he's doing conventions all the time. He's on Instagram and Facebook all the time doing conventions because you can take this as far as you want. I mean, it's really, and he is just a go-getter.
Killing the conventions too.
Is.
Like
He's
first,
winning.
What's the convention?
You just go there. It's like like shops have a bunch of booths.
Okay.
And then
Shops
everybody
from all
like
over the
tattoos there, and then you get like there's like competitions for like best tattoo, best small work.
Are
best
they just showing
black
their
and
work, or are
gray.
they actually doing
They're
work?
doing them
there.
there.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you get awards for it, like first place out of.
Wow.
And there's quite a few conventions where there's a lot of artists, like 70 artists there and stuff. So
Wow.
And they're the ones from TV, you know, you'll see on TV.
yeah, you see a lot of the Ink Master people at conventions too.
So it's like people like him that are inspiring. It's like, see, look, he said this is what he was going to do and he did it and he is just killing it. And the dude is so young, you know, so it's just exciting to see when people really get it in their soul and run with it.
I thought you were going to say skin. No, that would have been a good pun there. Tell me about the technology side of things. Like, you know, I mean, when you're drawing, is it, I mean, at one point, I assume you had the opportunity to switch from, you know, pencil and paper into iPad, you know, Apple Pencil type stuff like that. Is that stuff frowned upon, welcomed? I mean, how is that? How does that look?
It used to be frowned upon, but now it's like, I mean, it's so normal nowadays. Like she doesn't do iPads anymore. Like she tried it, couldn't figure it out because she's got the old brain, you know. But
Number 2 pencil, baby.
but now, I mean, we got programs like Procreate and stuff that are just amazing. I mean, and it's come so far in like the last 5 to 10 years. Like it's crazy. So
that is probably only going to get better. And then
yeah.
I assume that, like, you know, AI and stuff like that's going to be able to create crazy shit.
Oh yeah, you see stuff on the internet now where it's like AI generated tattoos and they're crazy good.
Really?
Like it's crazy what they come up with now. And then you got like wireless machines and stuff that they came out with like years ago, like 7 years ago. So
from an artist standpoint, how does that affect? I mean, like in the mental application of it, I think somebody would say, why the hell would I go to a tattoo artist to have them draw something when if I'm savvy enough to actually write what I'm looking for, AI generated art is going to be better. I'm going to bring this to them and have them place this on. Is that, I don't want to say threatening, but like, is it something that of concern in the industry, or don't really care?
I don't really care. I mean, we get clients all the time that come in with just pictures like, hey, tattoo this. And we're like, oh, you want us to change? Nope, absolutely not.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is what it is,
For me personally, like if I wanted to do something like this from an expression standpoint, I think it'd be hard, like to decide whether or not I want to have it, go search the web, find this image or something, the representation, or to actually entrust somebody with it too. Because I think that that's a very powerful thing
It's
too.
huge.
And, to me, it's like just writing an email. I'm not a great writer. I can throw whatever I write into AI, ChatGPT, and it's going to pump something out better. But it's definitely not sincere. It's definitely not thoughtful, and they're definitely not my words. But it does sound better. It sounds a hell of a lot better. I think there's going to be this time where, like, at some point, somebody's just going to say, you know what? I want something authentic. I want that human interaction. I want that creativity. I want to know what Dave's experiences are through his life, and I want that on my body to some degree. Where you're not going to ever be able to get that through AI.
True.
And I think at some point, I don't know, from an art standpoint, people are going to have to start leaning into that. It drives me nuts when you hear like a Beatles song, like a Beatles singing Nelly, like some shit like that. That's not like AI generated. It's like, it's cool. I get it. But like, it's just like, that's not the Beatles. That's totally not.
I have, through working here, I have like a one of my bestest friends now is a client of mine, and he's just bodysuited. I mean, head to toe, he is just like he is killing it on completely covering his body. And so through all these many sessions that we've had, I've got to know him really well. And so when we were like working on his back, he's like, just video games. I just like video games. Here's like, 6 video games I like. Just make sure those are in there. But then as I'm tattooing him, it's like, I'm learning about him and who he is and who he is as a person. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm going to grab this from this video game now. And I'm going to put this here because this totally represents this part of his life. And so it's like, I hope that that's why we'll always have a job is because, like you said, that's that personal part of it. And it's like that I can add to their tattoo, where to him that might not have been a big deal. But to me, it's like, oh, that just says you all right there, and I hope others, in your family see that and go, yes, she gets it, but I hope that's what's going to keep us working.
How crazy are the tattoo fads? Like the tribal tattoos and like the rock type shit, like all that. Like it's got it. Like, I mean, the barbed wire thing was obviously. I mean,
good old Pamela.
It's got to be just like
ICP stuff.
Oh my gosh,
dude, I can't speak bad about juggalos. I don't. Just like
neither can David.
Like, I'm just. Have you been?
What?
What do we
No.
call it?
No.
He has a cover up we're gonna work on.
It's like the Great Malenko or something.
Nailed it.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a great album, man.
Yeah, it's there.
Definitely, yes, definitely. But so that's where Hami comes in. Our apprentice is, we get a lot of, the same kind of little stuff. And David, like his day is one session, one person a day, because he sits 8 hours a day. Rachel, 8 hours a day. Dan, 8 hours. They sit and do massive pieces. So when you get a lot of like the new fads that come in and it's like, oh, I want this infinity with initials, you'll get a lot of those for a long time. Well, that's when we pass them on to like our apprentices and stuff. It's like they can easily rock out that little stuff that is important, but nothing that, these guys don't really have time for it. So, and that's great for Hami to like start building a clientele because now he's talking to them and,
Yep.
all the things. So
So is it kind of like dental work where, hey, we're going to give you a, filling, and then 5 years later down the road, that filling's going to break. We're going to give you a root canal, then cover. Like,
Good question.
is that a representation of like, I'm going to do this for you, but I will see you in 10 years? Like
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of thing.
it happens all the time.
Yeah.
When there's spots on the body, and it's like, now, there are some spots we won't do because they won't stay. And then there's others that's like, well, that's going to wear off, just so you know. But if they're like, well, I'm doing lots of tattoos, or I already have a lot of tattoos, then it's like, great. In 5 years, get that touched up when you get a new one, you know? So, but we always let them know if that's not a good spot, we're not doing it, or that's this kind of spot, this is how you're going to have to baby it, that kind of thing. But
Spouses' names.
yes,
Yeah.
those are the best.
Those are bad ideas.
Good cover-ups.
You should tell them about, just in general, so everybody can hear about the numbing cream. That's a big
Oh,
fad
yeah.
right now
No numbing cream. That's a bad idea.
Wait for obviously the customer.
for the procedure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really bad actually. It just softens the skin too much sometimes because you got to keep it on for like an hour and a half before you even come in. So like it softens the skin. People get bad reactions from it. Like it's just
It won't even take ink very well
Yeah.
in spots.
and it just like the healing process for the tattoo. Like once it heals, it looks not as well it would look if you didn't use it. So
if you're coming in,
Stay away from
stay
it.
from away from
Yeah.
the numbing and stuff. Makes
and
sense.
it doesn't last long. It lasts like half hour.
So you get through
Yeah.
half of it. It's like that. All hell's
Yeah.
about to break
Yeah.
loose.
So
Is that normally the fear is the pain?
hmm
Like it's not really necessarily the commitment or anything like that. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of needles.
Yep.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yep, just suck it up.
And
If you want to be a part of the cool club, you gotta suck it up.
Jesus Christ. So, all right. So just throw a couple at me. What's the worst tattoos? Like, I mean, you don't have to.
man.
I mean,
Tribal.
tribal.
I won't do them.
Is it just? Is it the idea of that? Like, nothing drives me more than like people that get. Shouldn't say that. People that get tattoos that have no idea what they mean or what they say. They're just getting it to get
That's
it, and then
common.
they'll do the no, it's this, and it's like, is it like,
Yeah.
now you can just like take a snap of it, throw it through Google, and it'll be like, no, you're a jackass. This
Yeah,
is actually the
Right.
like, but
so
you know,
true.
like I was in India for 4 days, and as they're like in a resort, and it's like it's not a representation of what anybody was looking at there. Like, is this a real client? Is that an eye roll that you get every now and then of like, okay,
It's happens not that often. I don't think so.
no, okay,
So,
good,
We don't get too many weirdos, but when we do, I embrace it.
yeah.
I'm like, yes.
You're in it to
you
win
made
it.
yes, that's right.
most of my clients are returning, so I don't get that very often.
That's
So
cool.
yeah,
They
that's
toss me
good.
the weirdos.
yep, absolutely.
See?
You guys are moving them in one direction. Once they walk in the door, it's like,
I like look at my book. I'm like, ooh, who did I tick off that day? Like, why'd I get this guy?
So when you guys get work done, who do you typically go through?
Oh man, I haven't had a tattoo in forever.
The people at the shop.
Yep,
People to shop. So
most time. Yep.
So we all travel together, and we were up north this last summer, and him and Dan, one of our artists, were talking about we never get tattooed, and oh blah blah blah, and they're both great artists, and so I was on my phone instantly on their calendars. I'm like, I just booked you guys each tattoos in December with each other, so now they're getting tattooed by each other in December. We just us and our loved ones, we just don't get tattooed. We don't. We never have time, and if we do have time, we're tired, and I mean, our hands get really tight, and I mean, there's an arthritis thing. Like, we have tons of. I'll go home at night. My husband will put like a heating pad around my hands for a half hour. I mean, our hands get really tired. So, and now with drawing too. Like, I mean, we can't just go 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 go. So
I assume it's kind of like for cooking. It's
same thing.
Pizza or barbecue. Like these are worlds that I'm in, and I hate pizza. I hate barbecue. It's not that I dislike it. It's I'm around it so goddamn much.
Right.
It's like when I get time to actually do what I want to do or go where I want to go. it's just not there.
Yeah.
I'd rather do something else or go somewhere else.
We get talked
So
about that. Like I was just talking to my daughter recently because we go lately. It seems like there's been a lot of funerals, and as soon as the funeral is over, like I'll go in right as it's starting, and we leave before everybody else because I'd get cornered all the time, all the time. Like, oh my gosh, I want to talk tattoos. Oh, I want to show you my phone and show you all the. It's like I can't even have a moment to grieve. Even at weddings, it's just like you can't. We're just never left alone.
No,
It's always
it's
tattoo,
all the
tattoo,
time.
tattoo. My kids don't go to the grocery store with me because they're like, oh, you get stopped all the time and people won't stop talking to you. And it's like, so that's kind of the only downfall I would think in our whole industry for me is that it's 24/7 all. And my dad, even in the ER one time, I got like this lady would not draw my blood because she had to get out her phone to show me all the tattoos she wants and all the reasons why. And I'm like, I am dying here in your hospital. Please just take my blood and kick rocks, like
I get it.
yeah,
I get
like
it.
so I get you with the pizza and barbecue. It's like, dude, like I'm living it all day, every day. Like I just when I leave work, sometimes I just want to live my life.
Yeah, it's the whole like do what you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. It's
Right.
like that's kind of shit.
Right.
Like, I mean,
I work every day.
Yeah. But I mean, we love our clients. I love running into them. There's a weirdo I've tattooed 3 times that, the tattoos I've done on him, the placement they were located with, they were all absolutely bizarre and weird. And then I ran into him at Meyer with my daughters, and he's like, walks up to say hi, and it's like, we have nothing to talk about in front of my kids. Have a good day. And
this is awkward.
yeah, like what on earth?
See you on Tuesday.
Yeah, right. How did it heal? Like, I mean, what do you want from me? So sometimes I do feel like I am kind of a little standoffish when, with people in public, but there's a time and a place. So I'm selfish with my time.
Well, what do you guys have up and coming? I mean, does the industry change or anything like that? Is there any new equipment differences or anything in the future that's going to make you stand apart or anything like that you're looking to get into? I don't know anything about it. Like, is it?
I mean, as far as like equipment and stuff, I mean, it's all been the same for
5 years.
5 years now. Like,
Okay.
I mean, needles get a little bit better. Like they keep getting better, but
Is that better for you as the artist
Yep.
or the?
Yeah.
Okay.
So different skin types. We don't have issue, where it's like, oh, they're over this age. Their skin's like tissue paper. This is gonna, blah, blah. It's like the quality of our needles are better now. So it's like,
Okay.
we can fly through anybody. It doesn't matter what your skin type is.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like Rachel, she was one of our artists. There's always new styles coming out all the time. I mean, David is always on Instagram showing me, sending me reels of look at what this guy did in Europe and whatever. And so Rachel, like she recently started doing patches. And so the tattoo looks like it's a sewn on patch on your, like as if it was on your duffel bag. And it's got like little loose threads and I mean,
Whoa.
it's just the cool, like, I was scared to death when I saw that becoming a trend because I was like, I have no idea how to even do that.
Like the name tag patch.
Yeah.
that,
That's
yeah.
it's
sweet.
crazy.
Yeah, and so she jumped right on it and started. I don't like seeing who's all doing it, what they're using, all the thing, what inks are great for that style, and now she's just like rocking them out. And so definitely trends come and go, and like this is a new one that's huge, and Sarah, will not be doing that one, but Rachel will. That's what's so good about having all these guys just constantly, learning and picking up different things because there's so much out there, and some stuff scares me well, not David, he's been in prison, but like Dan, stuff will scare Dan, but
Could have been a great
Scared
drinking
Dan?
game,
I've never
like prison.
seen something
I
scare
don't
Dan.
think nothing scared Dan. We haven't talked about him yet. So, and he didn't come today, so I feel like
His
after
strong
Corona,
hand. Yeah, he didn't want to come because he wanted to go hunting.
it's hunting season for
Smart
Dan.
He's
man.
got a strong hand though.
Yeah.
You can't use it.
Okay.
We call it his strong hand.
Yeah, stop in at Van Gogh and you can see Dan in his strong hand. Yeah.
Sent me to Dan. Good luck today, Dan, out in those woods, man. Like,
Well, and that's
shoot
Dan.
straight.
That one's great. He's so funny because he's an outdoor woodsy, all the things kills and guts his deer and, poops in the woods, all that stuff. And like, but so stop in at Van Gogh and you can hear those stories too. But no, so like he's so funny because he's been in the industry his whole life. I mean, his mom owned a shop in Lansing and he grew up in it. And so when I look at his art, I just, oh my gosh, I'm just in awe, obviously. But he's so humble. Like, he is so humble. Heavy hitters in the industry have tried to take him. I mean, a show called him years ago, and I never even knew this stuff until I hear it from my guys. They're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so tried to get him. I'm like, "Oh, and he didn't leave me in Grand Ledge? I would have left me in Grand Ledge. Like, he could be, this huge, and he's just humble. He just wants to be a dad and, and tattoo. Yeah. Like, I think that's why I just love my crew so much. Like, they're all just humble, good people. The client comes first. Like, they truly care about their client. Yeah, I just love that.
I definitely value that of the stars and the cameras and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of appeal to it. There's probably a lot of negativity that comes with it too. The expectations and all that kind of stuff. If you find your happy space and you can get out in the woods through the fall and
That's right.
go work at a local shop, I mean, stick with it, man. You don't gotta, I don't know.
Don't have to be on TV.
It's that society draw. Like, it's like, dude, I should be doing this. Like, no, bullshit. Just chill out, man.
Yeah.
If you're happy and content, just stay where you're at, man. It's okay. You don't have to crazy further yourself all the time. Like, those people that are trying to do that, like, sometimes I'll put myself in that category. I wish I could take 10 steps back and just kind of chill.
Yeah.
just enjoy it for a little bit.
Truly.
So yeah, it's a complex world. All right, we're kind of wrapping up on time. Kind of last thoughts from me is that what my takeaway was from learning about this whole experience is that definitely come in with some confidence of what you want to have done to some degree.
Absolutely.
Better communication with the individual and the artist is only going to help.
Truth.
Like, if you don't have an idea of what you want, we're probably screwed on both sides of the table here. Make good decisions on where you want to go, whether that's Van Gogh, which we're preferring in this scenario, or somewhere else. Just do your research on it. Be comfortable with the artist that you're getting into, and they're going to do their best job to be your artist forever. For lack of a better term in that scenario, where they want to tattoo your kids. Like that was actually said.
That's right.
And I mean, I think that you guys have done a great job of, like, for me, just answering, like, just clarifying some of the things that go into your line of work that I had no idea. I think some of the stereotypes that I was thinking from the outside, going, this and this are happening, I don't think actually happens. I think that is more of a relationship than it is anything, which is very powerful, and I appreciate it, because that's the kind of business that we're into, of trying to build that thoughtful relationship. Where can people find you guys?
I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay, your personal stuff.
Yeah.
What's your handle?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Well, you can go to VanGoghTattoos.com.
Okay.
You can go to us on Facebook. Van Gogh Tattoos has an Instagram. And then all of our, David, will there be links or something? Like, how can they find you? Oh, well, I mean, you can find him on Instagram by just going to our Instagram page.
Yeah.
You can find his Facebook page by just going to our Facebook page. Rachel, Dan, Hami, Jack. We didn't talk about Jack. Poor Jack.
Oh.
So yeah, they all got their own Facebook pages and everything. But yeah, definitely VanGoghTattoos.com.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll have to do it again. Explore some of the other artists that definitely in the portfolio there.
Yes.
We should have brought some art. I would have loved to have seen some of these things as we talk through them and kind of see what the capabilities are.
Get in our brains.
I don't necessarily say I want to do that shit. I mean, great Malenko over here. I don't know if I wouldn't consider that a safe space in there, but I don't know.
We all have those chapters in our books.
Yeah.
Bad prison decisions.
Well, thanks again for coming out. This has been great.
Thank you.
Thank you.